Anybody surprise you that was released yesterday?
Not really. No, I mean, I guess it was 8 guys is what I counted that they were released on Monday, and of course they still have do the math. I think it's still they have 72. You got to get to 53, so 19 more players, and this is where it really is going to get interesting. But some of those guys that were released yesterday, Richard Rodgers, the tight end, he didn't have really much of a chance.
Just goes to show you how desperate some of these teams are at quarterback. Davis Webb also getting released by the Giants. And I did see a news on Brian Robinson, who we talked about, the Washington running back who was carjacked and shot twice at point blank range. Looks like he is out of the hospital. So some great news there. And some great news anytime Ed Kracz joins us on the Football Playbook, making his Football Playbook debut. Where's Kratzy? There he is. Buckle up, baby. It's a double chin strap affair. Good morning, Ed. How are you today, man?
Hey, Rick. Good morning to you. Congratulations on the gig here. Good luck with it.
Yeah, thanks, brother. I hear the chat room is saying you're going to have to get sized up for like a JAKIB Sports yellow jacket here. You're on so much. Put you in the JAKIB Sports Hall of Fame over here. But yeah. Always appreciate the time. I know it's always a busy time when you're a beat writer covering the NFL team. They've eliminated our summers. The NFL has done such a great job of making it a year-round newsworthy affair. And yesterday, another newsworthy day with the Eagles 53-man roster cuts. I'll start right there with you. Anybody surprise you that was released yesterday?
Not really. No, I mean, I guess it was 8 guys is what I counted that they were released on Monday. And of course they still have do the math. I think it's still they have 72. You got to get to 53. So 19 more players. And this is where it really is going to get interesting. But, some of those guys that were released yesterday, Richard Rodgers, the tight end, he didn't have really much of a chance. He's kind of that boomerang veteran that, if they need him and he's not on another team, he'll be brought back. But that would only be, break glass in case of emergency type situation for Rodgers to return. Carson Strong had no chance at all. I don't know if the Eagles realized quickly that he didn't fit what they were doing, because he got so few reps during the summer training camp. He only had, I think, 15 in the preseason, 8 against Cleveland, 7 against Miami. So, he had no chance. And you mentioned Kellen Mond, that, maybe that's a guy that they take an interest in and maybe try to add him to the 53. But I don't see that, Rick. I think they're only going to keep 2 quarterbacks. I think they'll try to get Reed Sinnett to the practice squad. And if they can't, maybe they'll put a claim in for Mond and try to add him to their practice squad. But, I'm trying to think the other guys. I mean, it really no surprise. Jason Huntley, maybe you could call him a surprise cut, the running back. I mean, he was given so many reps during the preseason schedule and during training camp. But I think that was more a product of the Eagles not really having a very deep roster at running back. They only had 5 guys most of the camp. They added DeAndre Torrey as the 6th running back, but he didn't really get much of an opportunity. So he was cut early. But Huntley, he was just I don't think he showed enough. And I don't think the Eagles are going to keep 4 running backs. I think they have the 3 they like.
Yeah.
Kennedy Brooks will probably go to the practice squad, and they'll keep Sanders, Scott, and Gainwell.
No, I agree with that. And we'll have DeAndre Toney here at 11:20 a.m. Eastern and get his take on what went down there in Philadelphia. But you mentioned the quarterback position. Kellen Mond could be interesting. I also thought about Jimmy G restructuring in San Francisco. He's going to stay. What about Nate Sudfeld? He turned some heads with the 49ers in preseason this year. 49ers maybe in a quarterback crunch there. Could you see if Sudfeld is released, could you see a reunion with Philadelphia?
Certainly a possibility, Rick. I didn't think of him. I mean, he's been here before. The Eagles have familiarity with him. They obviously liked him because he was here for several years. So sure, that could be a possibility. I tell you who won't be a possibility is Ben DiNucci down there in Dallas. The James Madison kid who started a game against Philadelphia last season and really did not look good. So, he won't be here. But Sudfeld, sure, I could see that possibly being a fit. But again, I just don't know if they're going to use a roster spot on a third quarterback. And Nick Sirianni was asked about that in Miami, and he said he's been part of rosters where they've only kept two. So it's not unheard of to just keep two. And, I could see that being the direction that they go here.
Yeah, quick Ben DiNucci story. I'm down in James Madison scouting. They had a couple players that year, and man, they had all kinds of drama. They had the wide receiver, converted tight end, and locked the girl in the bathroom. And but I said, well, hey, coach, what do you think of Ben? They said, hey, I'll tell you, kid makes plays, but Ben loves himself some Ben DiNucci.
He's his biggest fan, huh?
Yeah, so I thought that was funny. Let me ask you this, scouring the waiver wire, I'm putting my Howie Roseman cap on. Jack Stoll, you could live with it, probably get by with it. Craig Calcaterra is still kind of on the mend. O.J. Howard released by Buffalo. Dalton Keene released by the Patriots. Keene was like a third-round pick or fourth-round pick just a year or two ago. O.J. Howard, as you know, he kind of flashed with the Buccaneers, another high pick. I mean, to me, that could be an upgrade possibly over Stoll. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, I just don't see it. I mean, unless Howard is this tremendous inline blocker, as your second tight end, you really don't need a guy to come in here and catch passes. And Stoll is not, he's improved that part of his game, but you don't need your second tight end to be going out for passes. He has to come in and block and, maybe go out on a little route as kind of a decoy. But when you have weapons like Dallas Goedert, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Miles Sanders, Kenny Gainwell out of the backfield, I mean, your second tight end is not going to be a pass catcher. And, Howard catches passes. I'm surprised he got cut, to be honest. But I'm not sure if he's an upgrade in the blocking game. I mean, that's what Stoll does, is he blocks. And maybe if something were to happen to Dallas Goedert, then you might have an issue as far as who's going to replace him. But I think the Eagles have a pretty good tight end group, to be honest, Rick. I think with Dallas Goedert leading the way, Stoll is your kind of blocking guy. And then, I think Grant Calcaterra, he's still learning how to block. He's a work in progress. We know he's pretty good in the pass game. But again, your second tight end or your third tight end, they're not going to go out for patterns too often. But they like Calcaterra. And Noah Tungai, I'm not sure how to pronounce that. I'm still learning.
Oregon State,
Yeah. I mean, he really had a pretty good camp. And I could see them keeping 4 tight ends on this roster, with Tungai being the other one. And then you have to remember, too, they still have Tyree Jackson. He was last summer's sensation. The former quarterback from Buffalo really had a great training camp last summer, and then he broke his back, and then he tore his ACL. Just bad luck for Jackson. But he's on the PUP list, reserve PUP, so he's out for at least a month before they can think about bringing him back. So they have guys at that position. I don't think they need to go out and get O.J. Howard. I think, maybe the Giants would look at somebody like that within the NFC East. They could certainly use a tight end, but I just don't see it happening for the Eagles.
No, good points there. Ed Kracz, Eagles Today, join us here on the Football Playbook, taking you up to noon Eastern for the Sports Take guys. How about the safety position, Ed? Are they comfortable with rolling with what they got? They tried to catch lightning in a bottle with Tart, didn't exactly pan out. No. Where do they go from here?
Yeah, listen, I'm concerned about it. I don't know how concerned they are. I think they're pretty much concerned too. I thought Tart was a terrific signing at the time. They brought him in, late June or mid-June, and, he missed some practices due to some personal reasons, some undisclosed personal reasons, and then he didn't make the Jets, the preseason opener against the Jets. He wasn't on hand either. And in Miami, he didn't have he only played 17 reps, but they weren't the best 17 reps of his career. So they moved on from him, surprisingly to me, but I think it was warranted. But now you have Marcus Epps and Anthony Harris as your 2 big guys there. I think when you look at it now in hindsight, it was probably a mistake to let Rodney McLeod go. Maybe they should have tried to bring him back as well. Great leader in the locker room. But they're still trying to figure this thing out. I think it's safety, and I think if you're going to see any moves, any action from the Eagles, it's going to be at that position as we count down these hours to the trade or to the roster cut down limit of 53 players by 4 p.m. Today. that would be the position to me I think you're going to see addressed. I like what Reed Blankenship did, the undrafted free agent from Middle Tennessee State. I think he deserves a spot on this team. But then what do? Do you keep Andre Shashari and Kayvon Wallace, former 4th-round pick, and then you have 5 safeties? None of them are, top-end guys. I mean, Marcus Epps might have the ability to be the top-end guy. He's never been a starter in this league, so there's questions about that. You could see Kayvon Wallace being cut here, giving up on a 4th-round pick. But I like Reed Blankenship. I thought he had a good summer. Jonathan Gannon spoke about him. I think it was in Miami or Cleveland. I can't remember. All these days are running the same to me, Rick. But Blankenship, he said, look, he has versatility. He's not just a single high safety. He's not just a box safety. He can do both. And I think that to me was a glowing comment that still sticks with me in my ears, thinking, I think he's going to make this roster. But, again, we'll see.
Well, I got news for you. If they cut Reed Blankenship, he's signing elsewhere. He's signing to someone else's 53. He will not be a practice squad candidate. So let me ask you that. Mm-hmm. Out of everybody who was cut yesterday, any chance one of these guys, any candidates here for the Eagles practice squad? Cameron Tom has some position versatility, can play all 3 interior, but so can Cam Jurgens. I don't know. Do you see them bringing any of these guys back?
I could see maybe Cameron Tom coming back. Huntley, I think, would probably try to get him back.
But would they put Huntley and Kennedy Brooks both on the practice? They would probably do one or the other, though. No.
Well, they have 16 practice squad spots, True. And there's going to be some running backs out there that could entice them. Sony Michel, perhaps, released in Miami. Now, he didn't show anything this summer. I was just down there talking to some beats for the Dolphins, and Michel's was a huge disappointment. No surprise he was released. But is he any better than what the Eagles have in Scott, Gainwell, and Sanders? Definitely not.
How about Philip Lindsay?
That's a pretty good name. And he played for the Colts, right? Wasn't he a Colts guy? So, that familiarity with the coaches in Indianapolis, that could make some sense. He could be in the mix. I know there's Madison in Minnesota that,
got to give up something, though.
You're right. You have to give up something.
But he's good. He's good.
He is good. Now, would they trade Jalen Reagor for Madison? They're working hard, Rick, and I know we'll probably get to it, but they're working hard to trade Jalen Reagor.
Perfect transition, because that was my next question. And I saw Laviska Shenault go for a 6th and a 7th yesterday. Yeah. But there are reports circulating that Reagor could get released. What do you? I put it at 50-50. Do you favor it one way or the other? And what's the trickle down? Does that mean Huntley probably comes back? How does that punt returner spot shape up if they do deal Reagor?
Yeah, well, I mean, look, talking about Reagor first, and I like to put myself out here on, the JAKIB Media program. So I'm going to say there's 100% chance that Reagor will not be released if he is not traded. Okay, so I just don't see Howie giving up on a former 1st-round pick. And, he creates a real logjam at that position. There's no question about it. He's kind of the 5th guy in that room. And, you'd like to find a way maybe to keep Britton Covey or Devin Allen, who a lot of people don't give him much hope. But, man, Devin Allen had the best play of preseason for the Eagles, that 55-yard touchdown catch where he just blew by everybody that the Browns had out there in the secondary by a lot. And then he had to lay out to make the catch. I mean, it was just a great play. And then in Miami, he shows up as the punt gunner and forces a muffed punt inside the 10-yard line of the Dolphins. The Eagles couldn't catch the touchdown. They had to settle for a field goal after yet another touchdown was called back because of penalty. We've seen that way too many times with this team last year, where they score a touchdown, a penalty brings them back. So it happened again after Allen broke up that play on the punt. But, that's 2 plays that, I would keep the guy, to be honest. I mean, he's trying to do something that's very hard. He's trying to relearn how to play football after 5 years away from the game while he trained to be this, top-level Olympic hurdler.
And he showed me more than Reagor. Give me that guy. I want to work with that.
I agree. But somewhere I think that pedigree and the reason you took Reagor in the 1st round is a reason they're not going to release him. Howie's just not going to cut him. I don't believe it.
No, I get it.
But they're going to try like crazy to trade him. And you mentioned the draft, some of these guys like Laviska Shenault being traded for, a 6th and a 7th. We saw N'Keal Harry, or however you say
Harry,
that. Yeah, N'Keal Harry. He got traded for, what was it, a 7th? I mean, what are you going to get for Reagor? Howie's price right now is way too high. Yeah. I've been told, Rick, he's looking for a 4th-round pick that can become a conditional 3rd-round pick based on play time and stats, et cetera. Yeah, good luck with that. I mean, Howie's going to have to come down on his price, given what some of these other receivers have been traded for here in the summer, or teams are just going to say, well, you know what, we're just going to wait and see if you cut them. So, we're just going to play a game of chicken with you, and maybe we can get them on the waiver wire. But I just don't see the Eagles going there.
Or they can just go sign Odell Beckham for probably about the same kind of money. Or Denzel Mims, how about he's on the trade, but he just had 8 catches for 100 yards and 2 touchdowns the other night. I mean, that I think makes trading Reagor a little bit more difficult as well.
Yeah, you're right. It's a flooded market, and unless Howie's willing to come off his asking price and take a 6th or a 5th, I mean, again, I'm not sure he's worth that. A lot of teams probably don't see him as worth that. I think a change of scenery will help him. And I know the Packers are one of the teams that I've been told that are in play that are talking to the Eagles about acquiring Reagor. But the Packers have been in talks for Shenault. They were in talks for some of these other receivers that are out there. They need to upgrade that receiving core. And what a great landing place that would be for Reagor if it happens. Aaron Rodgers would turn him probably into a star, I would guess. But yeah, keep an eye on the Packers. I think keep an eye on the Bears. But the Bears, they gave up a 7th for Harry. They're not going to go much higher for Reagor, but they could certainly use an upgrade for receiver, and Reagor would fit that bill. But again, that's the $1 million question to me: is he still going to be on this roster at 4 p.m. today?
Yeah, the Bears are kind of desperate there. I could see something like that. So we'll keep an eye on the Jalen Reagor situation. I know you'll have it covered on the Eagles Today over there on Sports Illustrated, part of the Fan Nation Network. What else can fans find on the website? What else you got cooking coming up in the future?
Yeah, well, I mean, 4 players talked to us on Monday. Four, I guess, 3 veterans in Lane Johnson, Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham, and then A.J. Brown, the newcomer, just 25, really kind of emerging as sort of the leader, not just in the wide receiver room, but on the team as well. He said he believes he's one of the best players on this team, and it's hard to argue that point. But yeah, we're just kind of, writing stories about what they had to say. And all 4 of those guys gave, some great press conferences, and, having a tracker, we're going to keep track of the cuts as they happen. And then later today, Howie Roseman is scheduled to talk to us after the cuts are made. So, maybe 4:35, he'll come down. I'm not sure if Ric Serritella will be with him, but, Howie will meet with us and he'll explain how he made these decisions to get to his final 53.
We'll know how he did it. Make sure you log on. Eagles Today. Before I let you go, was Lane asked about being omitted from the NFL Top 100 at all?
That was the first question, Rick, that he was asked. And he said, it used to get him mad, but, look, the guy's 32 now. He said, I'm just worried about getting through practice healthy, worried about taking care of his body. But he takes offense at that. There's no doubt that will help fuel him for the season, but he didn't go public. Usually he tells it like it is. And, I think he did. He's not mad, but he feels it a little bit. And I too agree with him. I mean, if he's not one of the top 100 players in the league, then, there should be an investigation, because I absolutely still think at his age, he can still play.
It's criminal. All right. One more for you. What's the latest on Jason Kelce? Is he going to be good to go week 1 against the Lions or what?
Yeah, he will be. He's not going to, he's doing everything he can to get that elbow back into shape. He's not going to miss that, extending that, consecutive games played streak. I mean, Kelce's one of the toughest guys out there. I've seen Kelce overcome so many aches and pains to get ready to play, and he still plays at a high level. The injuries or whatever the aches and pains are do not impede what he's able to do on the field. So yeah, he'll be out there. I mean, Cam Jurgens, listen, the position's in great hands, in my opinion, with Cam Jurgens. Jurgens has shown a lot. I've even seen some people on my Twitter timeline saying, hey, let's trade Kelce to the Vikings for Madison. I mean, come on, they're not going to trade Jason Kelce, but
come on, son.
That's not right. But he's going to be ready to go, Rick, no doubt.
All right, very good. Always a fountain of knowledge when it comes to Eagles. Love chopping it up with you, Ed. I'm sure we'll have you back here, man. Always appreciate the time.
Absolutely, Rick. Thanks.